All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Hopefully Keith can make it. So consideration of any changes, additions, or removals to the agenda. I'm going to add the tax sale as number 8, STR discussion number 9, EWP grant is number 10. I'm going to give an update on FEMA reimbursement, which is 11. And Cherry's on, she can chime in if she'd like. And then recent comment was made about parcel data standards. So I'm going to make that number 12.
Great.
Anything else? There's Keith. Hey, Keith.
Oh,
Keith?
Jay,
Yeah.
that thing, the contract thing, the contract, that thing.
Oh, for Nimerick? Okay.
But that needs to be on there.
Yeah, we should probably add that for discussion. It's a good thing to discuss. So that last. And our first order of business, hey Keith.
Howdy.
Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from July 15th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 15th.
I'll second.
You sign your copy, his copy.
Sure.
Our next job is to approve the minutes of our special select board meeting from Monday, July 29th.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 29th.
I'll second. And this is the resolution to purchase the bus property and receive federal funds for it. Just curious. And our next order of business is to approve the special meeting minutes from Monday, August 5th, which is an executive session. I'll make a motion to approve those.
Sure, I second.
Okay.
Borrow your pen.
Okay, that brings us to any citizen comments. Anything anybody wants to raise that's not on the agenda?
Will the budget thing cover the latest on the building, the funding on that, how that's done, and?
Sure.
I know,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Want to do it now or?
If we have the budget's November or something.
Okay.
And I don't think we're ready to do a full budget review. I haven't reviewed what I've gotten from Cherry. But I think we should do it next time. We'll just plan on having everybody look through things and we can start our budget process in probably October, November. Okay. The next thing on the list is Farm and Wilderness. It's a forest legacy easement support, and I am going to have to recuse myself from any decision-making around this. So I will present this on behalf of my employer. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to, I guess you, Rick, to just be the chair while I present.
Okay.
Keep me in line. So I'm going to start out first by generally asking the select board for support for a forest legacy easement on 99 acres that Farm and Wilderness Conservation or the Nineveh Foundation owns. And generally, we're asking the select board to recognize the owner's property rights and support the right to attain a conservation easement. The easement will provide enduring access to the land with dispersed recreational opportunities for the public, such as hiking, hunting, and fishing, as well as the owner's forest management and timber harvest that support a local forest economy. And so this is generally Farm and Wilderness lands, this yellow. And this is the 99 acres that we have recently acquired the last 1/3 ownership in. And what we'd like to do is put a conservation easement on this land.
Where's Patchbrook Road on there?
Oh, it's some Patchbrook Road is over here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's it right there.
Oh, okay.
So this is a class 4 road. It's on Reggie's Road, which goes right by. There's no power at the site or actually anywhere up that road.
Is that up where that camp was, Jay?
Yes, W. George, I think we refer to that
I know
as.
where you're at.
So anyway, what we'd like to do is permanently extinguish the development rights. I don't think this parcel has a whole lot of value in terms of development, being on a class 4 road. And without power, not that it's not possible. But I think it's mostly, what we're thinking about is like, it's right in the middle of all this forest, and we'd like to, protect that forever. We do, I was out with the national NRCS from the US Department of Agriculture today, and we're just talking about actually practices that we do to enhance wildlife habitat that's compatible with forest management. So keeping openings for deer, grouse, things like that. Pretty typical. And it would not affect the, at present at least, the taxes that the town would receive because it's already enrolled in the use value appraisal program or current use.
So why is the town involved? It's private property.
Governor, so
That was my
to
question.
put any land in a forest legacy easement, Governor Scott requires the select boards of the town to approve that.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a Scott administration,
all right.
which we don't disagree with. Especially, if you were like removing high value property from tax rolls, I think towns should probably have a say in that, and I think that's
Okay.
part of that reason.
Will there be any gates or fencing around it?
There is presently a gate, and that would remain in place it's a forest road. But none of the land will ever be posted. Can't be under the terms of this easement. So it's open to recreation for non-motorized.
For non-motorized?
Yeah, non-motorized recreation.
ATVs can go through there?
I can't. I can't. And it's the same with all this other conserved land. You just can't. It's the Forest Legacy Program prohibits that. But it's one of the few programs where we do get paid to conserve the land.
Are there hiking trails on there now?
There are. They're not
I was curious.
awesome, but there are. Yeah.
No,
And
I've done a lot.
I don't know if the public uses them that much, although I've been in here when there's snowfall in like November, and I can tell you the boot prints going through there from hunters is pretty incredible.
Huh,
You know.
interesting.
It gets used a lot. All that land does.
Was that part of the bear habitat at one time, or?
Yeah, it's part of the Green Mountain Wildlife Corridor. This like sits smack in the middle of it. And if you're kind of watching that, you kind of know how important these big forest blocks are for, big mammals to move around.
I've forgotten her name, the gal of Farm and Wilderness that organizes walks and something.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that's.
Does she ever do anything through there?
Yeah. So there's constant forest management activities are happening on the property. As I mentioned, wildlife habitat improvement activities happen. The summer camp, kids hike the trails pretty frequently in the summer. Invasive control, that's another big thing that, you just kind of, you inherit all these invasive plants nowadays, whether it's, grapes, porcelain berry, multiflora rose, all these things that we're constantly trying to contend with. So that kind of management goes on as well.
Well, I would make a motion that we support the easement.
Can I see that close up?
Yeah.
Is that Jack George's property?
What we call Stubby George,
Sunny, yep,
that little quarter acre, it's a quarter acre?
yep.
Yeah, his family owns that as far as I know. And it's primarily used as a hunting camp.
Yeah, yep.
Are you guys gonna leave the building there, the camp?
So Stubby George, that quarter acre doesn't have anything to do with like us, so that will be left.
Oh, that's, okay.
Yep. The Parker, property, there's a trailer on that, and that'll likely be removed, along with the truck.
How long are you on this? Is the farmer wilderness on this?
Held that property, 2/3 of it for the last 20-some years, and then we just finally are in contract to buy the last third of it.
You're in contract now?
Yep, for that last third of the 99 acres. Yeah. So it's basically we own a joint thing with another person. And as soon as we, once we close on it, we'd like to enroll it in the Forest Legacy Program, the easement.
The whole thing?
Yep, the 99 acres. Whole 99 acres. And it's surrounded by about 3,000 acres of easement land.
And the farmer wilderness collects the money from the program?
From the Forest Legacy Program, yep. And we actually, you don't get paid what the value is generally, right? They call it a 25% match. So you get paid 75% of what the assessed or appraised value is, minus the development rates. So, it's kind of funny. They would say, like, if acreage is selling for $2,000 an acre, say in like big tracts, right? They might say an easement value is worth about $1,000. So that could be $99,000, for example, and then you'd have to pay your match, which is $25,000. So we'd probably net $75,000 as an example. And that's not exact numbers because I don't really know what the land appraises for, but
It's an annual payment?
no, just one time.
Just once?
One time. It's not a money-making venture. I can tell you that.
So like the CRP program out west, it's an annual payment when you take farmland, grazing land and put it in there and they pay you annually. It's a different formula. I don't.
So we get some payments like that support that kind of thing. So being in current use obviously lowers your taxes because the state is picking up part of the taxes, right? And then these NRCS contracts or U.S. Department of Agriculture contracts, those pay you money like say like 3,800 acres, right? That's like $5,000 a year. So it's not a lot per acre, but it helps you do these things like
You need to steward it.
Yeah, that's it. And you have to have a forest management plan to be in UVA, so that means hiring foresters to,
Is it in use now?
It is, yeah.
So it could be in use and in the federal program.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a motion on the table. What do you want to do?
I second it.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
I'll pass the chair back to you, Jay.
Okay. So the town workplace and conflict among elected officials, appointed officials, and potentially town employees. I think the board just wanted to recognize that these kind of things happen in the workplace and that we support, and make sure I say this correctly, tools for people to work through that, whether it's diversity, equity, and inclusion training or cultural competencies, that kind of the word. So we just want employees, appointed officials, and elected officials to know that there are resources for conflict at work.
Conflict mitigation.
Yeah.
Strategies.
And so I guess we could make a motion to financially support that if necessary.
We could.
Yep.
I would approve that. I would make a motion that we would financially support that. I think it's important.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second.
All right. Motion carried. So budget review, I think we're going to punt on that subject, but you have an update on the building?
Well, no, but I can say this
Okay.
in general terms. I did take a look at it about 2 weeks ago, and all I could say is, right now, we're in the black, we're not in the red, we're still within our budget. We're very close to the end of this phase. The only work that needs to be done is finish the roof on that front entrance. Some roof metal trim edge work needs to be finished, and the exterior doors need to be installed, which are all on order. So we're real close to the completion of this phase, and I think we got the numbers where they need to be. So we're definitely within budget, and that's all I want to say right now. Yep.
And it looks good, I think.
Huh?
The building looks good too, I think.
It's coming good. It's coming good.
When will the next phase be starting?
We're waiting on a grant, and that grant, well, maybe Jay can tell us more about the grant.
So we had a building assessment done. It's a MERP grant, it's called, through this buildings and grounds, or buildings, state buildings, grounds system. And they came up with these grants for communities. And if you're a disadvantaged community, you had a better shot, or energy burden community, you had a better shot. And Plymouth ranked pretty close to getting one of these grants, we thought. So depending on the number of applicants and type of projects, we went ahead and went through the first phase, which was an energy audit, right? They did a blower door test and stuff. And then the final application portal opened up this month for that. I thought we'd already done everything we could do, but apparently there's a little bit more. So we're applying for that, and that will determine how much money is.
But it may not be awarded till 25,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna be here next summer working. Yeah.
Big amount?
$500,000.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So some of the money we borrowed wouldn't be needed then?
No,
Pay some of it off?
no. What happened, let me try and explain this. We started with a project, and the costs were way over our budget, so we started pulling things out of it to make the project work within our budget. So now this grant will be putting what we pulled out of the project back into the project. So it won't cost the town any more money, is the bottom line. And whatever we end up with that grant, we will we will figure out what we can do with that money for the next phase. But it's looking real good right now, so I think we're gonna have a whole project here. Yeah, it's a big grant. It could be up to 500,000. Yeah.
That brings us up to tax sale. And Elaine is here, our collector of delinquent taxes. Is there anything you wanted to tee us up with at all, Elaine, about this?
With regards to having a tax sale?
Yeah.
We need to make a decision whether or not we want to have it this fall, and then we would have to go to the tax sale attorney to get a schedule from him for the date.
Okay. And I have the email from you. It says we are owed a total of $93,202 in delinquent taxes. Last year's amount was $71,355, and this year, in the years 2015 to 2022, is $21,847.
We can't have properties who are delinquent for 2023 and a tax sale for this year. That would have to wait for the next regular scheduled tax sale.
And you're suggesting postponing till next year to make it more efficient by having both years?
It's up to you guys what you want to do.
Yeah, at first glance, when I looked at it, it appeared to be more efficient if we waited. Personally, I don't care whether we have a sale or not. I'm just trying to make it more efficient for the town.
Right.
Whatever makes sense.
Yeah.
So we have to, is it like we have to hire an attorney for the whole process? It'd be, if we did it this year, we'd be spending the money to do it for 2015 to 2022 and then spending it again for the 2020.
Those properties will qualify. They qualify for 2 years, right?
Yes.
They have to be 2 years in delinquency. Yeah, so the 2023s would be in 2025. So we either have one now, or we just wait till 2025 and put them all together. Is that?
I think
It's
that's
up
the
to you
option.
what you decide.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, whoever's delinquent can either, they could come in and pay it, right?
Certainly, we're trying to get people to come in and pay,
They have money.
to develop.
Right, or they would just, if it sales in 2025, it would just continue to accrue and they'd owe more, right?
Yeah, yes. The hard part is that when the notice of sale is lodged with the clerk's office, it adds $1,000 to every parcel's expense to redeem it. And I would really like for people to redeem their properties before that happens, because if they can't afford to pay their taxes now, that extra $1,000 is going to be another burden for them. And by law, the legislature last year added some extra steps that we have to take, that we have to follow in order to get people to redeem their properties or pay their taxes if they go to sale. It's not as easy as it was the last time. Which doesn't make it hard, it can be done. In fact, we've been working toward that with the people who own properties and live in them in this town. But the vacant land, I have not done put the same effort forward on that because people aren't living there. And I don't know what the law states with regards to that. Plus, whether or not out-of-staters are have that consideration. So it would be nice if one of you would speak to the tax sale attorney and get some feeling from him of whether or not it makes sense for the town to have a tax sale now or to wait for another year.
So instead of this fall would be fall 2025 if we did it?
No, this fall would be, if we have one this fall, we would not have another one until 26.
26.
Yeah,
So yeah, the properties from this year, or 2024 would qualify in that sale too then, right?
yeah.
26. Right.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask a question. So we would always do 2 years. Have we always done 2 years though for people? I just want to be sure we're consistently doing, whether it be 1 year. I mean, have we tax sale people?
That was, I'm under the impression we started doing that with the last sale.
One.
That was our conversation that we,
That was the conversation we would have every
2 years.
Yeah.
So we're due by that,
Well, yes,
in
the
that
last one was
context,
held
we're due.
April 2022,
Yeah.
so we are due.
We should have one now, right? And then another one in 26.
Yeah.
We keep,
I think it would be wise, I think it would keep situations from happening like we were in with the last tax sale. Although at that tax sale, we did not include the hog properties because they had gone to contract. But the problem is the vacant lots and people being able to look at the vacant lots in order to bid on them. And what happens if they don't sell at the tax sale?
or we'd end up owing them, right?
How many vacant lots do we want to own?
How many are, I mean, they know.
There are more vacant lots than there are houses.
We own 3 now, right? 3.
We own 3 now, but I think the vacant lots, it's on an email I sent to you, is it 13 or 8?
It's
I
13.
forget.
I think it's 13. That's the number I have, remember. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
We'd have almost 20 lots.
Do we have contact information on those properties?
Yeah, they get a delinquent tax notice every month.
I mean, we're 3, we gotta make a decision. I say we do it now and do it, stay on the 2-year. That would be my vote. 24 and then 26 and just keep it that way. I don't know.
I mean, you've been kind of leading it with Elaine, so I mean, I'm willing to defer to your.
I mean, I can reach out to Ankuda and see if he says that's a good strategy. If not, then we can defer to his judgment.
I would ask you to do that, Keith. Why don't you do that?
If he wants to, if he says go for it, go, that's good, then we do it. If not, then we'll just wait.
Okay.
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah.
Good. That's what we'll do, Elaine. We'll contact the attorney. Keith's gonna contact him.
I'm gonna reach out to him and see
Okay.
what his guidance is, what he thinks we should do. Stick to the 2-year time frame or kick the can down the road for an extra year. I don't know.
I think it's easier to stick to the time frame, and when people get accustomed to that sort of pressure is a word I would use, I guess, of tax pressure of having to pay it or else this is going to be happening. It might help the cash flow with regards to tax receipts.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, if you know that it's every 2 years, that's kind of a generous grace period in itself. I mean, you've got 2 years to pay your taxes, so.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't, then the tax sale happens. But I mean, that's a tool that we have at our disposal, so if we don't, we
Yeah.
should use it.
Now, those 3 lots that we own, will those be included in the tax sale again?
I got the impression from him, from Stephen, when I spoke to him, that they would not be. He said you need to market those yourself aggressively. You don't put them back in the tax sale. Because we've been accumulating expenses every month that they haven't, that we've owned them.
We sell them above,
We have a lot more money in those parcels now than we did 2 years ago.
I see.
if we sell them for above what we have into them, we have to return that money to the previous owner?
I don't think so, because we own them now, but that's the question you would need to clear up with him.
Maybe because a year has passed?
Because we own them now, yes.
Yeah,
That was, there was a grace period, right? And then
Yeah.
after that period, then we
and we own them out?
owned them outright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
that's my impression.
Well, so then we could sell them at whatever current market value is. And then we recoup a lot of the money, cost.
Is it hard to list them with a realtor so that we can have them actively marketed with GPS coordinates so people can find out where they are and look at them?
It's a 10% commission for land.
I'm sure we
Who else is on the market?
we can open a, you know, we can call Vermont Properties, and any of these are local realtors, and set up a relationship, have them market the properties. I mean, that would be the easiest way, so we don't have to do it.
Yeah,
No upfront costs.
I like that idea, Keith. Yeah.
I mean, I can reach out to Gavel Barnes and see if he wants to do it. He's does a lot of land, you know, raw land.
That sounds great.
Works good, yeah, I think that's
Let's
awesome.
keep it moving, that's great. Yeah, we should do that.
Also, I'll get the exact info I need from Mike, and I'll contact
We
him.
could easily put a tax map together with the GPSs on it. And as far as the value of those lots, we had one hot lot sold since the first of the year. It was valued at $7,500, and it sold for $4,000.
Yeah.
It's not expensive land.
You gotta get it back on the tax roll.
Yeah,
That's it.
we may end up going that route, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think we should move them, if we could. Yeah.
House on stilts.
Do you need to make an official motion? Is it gonna need some kind of resolution for the town to sell the properties? If so, why don't we make a motion to,
Market them.
market those and sell those properties?
I make a motion that we start, explore possibilities to market them.
Okay. I'll second it.
Yeah, I'd approve.
Because I think they want that off, the attorney does, just for legal.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, maybe say it's a special meeting.
Nope. It's on the books. It's on the books.
Okay. That brings us to SDR, and you wanna kick that off?
Sure,
okay.
Frank, where Frank Potter is. We've had some emails, and I sense there was some concerns you might have had, Frank, or concerned with enforcement, and what's the right way to proceed? And do you need some guidance from us, or direction, or help? How's it going?
Well, probably I think I also probably owe you a status report after 2 years, but I'll get right into enforcement. We have 64 people now on the rolls. We've been very successful in bringing new people in, a little reluctantly, but they've fallen into the system they're in. And most of our activities goes to renewing those 64 people and bringing in the new people. And the new people do take a little bit of work to get, we have a pretty, I wouldn't say it's onerous, but there's a pretty detailed process to get into the system with the insurance, the Knox box, the fees, the forms, and all that. People don't have access to lot maps and things like that. So it takes some effort.
Yes.
And I think the amount of effort, I call it admin help that we have right now is not adequate to do all of that and then also to get into any kind of enforcement. My idea on enforcement is that we now have, I'd say we have close to 10 people who have repeatedly refused our certified mail. And so that's my hit list.
Okay.
These are the people, we're ready at I'd like to do this soon, to get some kind of a letter out to these people, set a date of that letter, and enforce the $100 a day fine on people. And in talking with people from Killington, they do that now, it's $200 a day. And they had people up in the several thousands in fines. And at some point, people realize they're serious. And then you negotiate a solution. And to my, if the average person is $500 a year, and the program's been in effect now for 2 years, this is $1,000 right there. You've saved $1,000 by being a scofflaw. So that kind of an effort is what I'd like to start doing. And if we could lean that property, just the whole power of municipal government on these people to get them. Because at this point, the vast majority of people are in the program, they cooperate, they renew, they're friendly to deal with, but there are these 10 people that are just basically thumbing their nose at the system and refusing to do anything. And I think at this point, after receiving 2 or 3 letters, it's time to start enforcing. Now, we have tickets on order, but I know the tickets can be used as the vehicle to do that. I think more of the tickets is somebody maybe had 20 people one night, and neighbors complained, and you go up and you give them a ticket for that issue. That hasn't happened. For all of the reasons for implementing this program, I haven't received any complaints from anybody that they're rowdy or things like that. People are doing all of the fire inspections. We've made the houses a lot safer. I mean, every house that the fire marshal has inspected has had something. Maybe as trivial as grippable banisters, up to having carbon monoxide and smoke alarms. We've had creosote and wood stoves, all kinds of things like that. So we have a safer housing stock, which I think is a very positive thing. But to sum it up, we're at that point now where I think it's time to start hammering people.
So if I can just add in here, I've been talking with the Judicial Bureau now for like 3 weeks, back and forth. And
To who?
The Vermont Judicial Bureau.
Oh.
That allows us to get registered to issue citations, basically, and have them enforced through the court system. And I've sent them a couple emails with paperwork, and they're still waiting for one final form. And it was not, the process was not really all that clear from the start. So that's probably the only holdup that I can say, other than somebody being able to physically then go ahead and do the work.
Right. Well, I think of it as 2 prongs. One is the letter with the threat, and the other is the ticket. The problem with the ticket is that when you read through that whole procedure, down at the end, if all else fails, we have to get a collection agent. When I saw that, I was thinking, that's not a very, automatically you're paying 33% to someone else, and it's a, I mean, if we have to do it, we do it, but.
Is there another way?
Just lean them.
Yeah.
Put a lien on the property. I think that's the best way. And you may not see the money until Elaine goes after their taxes, but
Okay.
They sell it.
if they sell it,
But
but,
then it has this big bill to pay that there's no way around it.
Right.
Because it'll be a lien on the property.
They escrow the money. We've had one in the plan, an individual didn't take a permit, and 15 years later, sold the house, and we collected our $2,000.
I remember that was late, yeah.
So $100 a day for being out of compliance, that's pretty, is there a limit?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Boy.
If they go for 2 months, that's, was it $6,000?
Yeah, okay.
So Frank, the letters that have been going out, they've been from the office here?
Yes.
They haven't been like from our attorney or anything?
No, they've come from our office here.
I'm
We have
wondering-
different stages. We have the, like, three levels. The
Yeah,
friendly reminders
Yeah.
so that you better
yeah.
get your act together.
And how about the sheriff serving these? If they get to
The
that
problem we
point?
run into is, of those 64 people, I think 59 of them are out of state.
Okay. Yeah.
So it gets to be pretty difficult to serve people when they're out of state.
All right.
Do you think a letter from an attorney would have any more clout than from our office?
Yes, but the problem is people refuse a certified mail that has the town of Plymouth on it. I don't know, maybe if it says have an attorney, they will. Yes,
Yeah.
I do think that would be,
If I got a certified letter from an attorney, I'd want to know what's in it.
yes,
I
I would want to know from anybody.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think that's a good idea.
It may not be that complicated if we could work with you and have them develop a form letter.
Right.
And we just change the address as the time comes and tell them we need a letter sent to this guy or that guy. And they send the same letter out, so it may not be that big of a
You
deal.
do have a copy of a letter from that Julie uses. I'm changing some words.
That'd save some.
I like the idea of an attorney rather than as the final no.
Why couldn't we just put the attorney's return address on the envelope, and at the bottom, just put, not sign the attorney's name, but just print it?
I say we can't do that.
The letter from an attorney with the attorney font on top of the signature and the words that they use, I think would be intimidating.
So the first part of what you started talking about before we got into enforcement was admin time.
Just admin time.
So you're under the impression that this job takes more than 4 hours a week that Nastasha has for that,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Does she have more time, or do we need to find somebody that has more time?
I don't know the answer to that. I
Okay.
don't know how much time she has to lister.
I think there's sufficient time there, yeah. 1 day a week is a lister, and 1 day a week is short-term rentals.
So you think we could get 8 hours out of her?
It needs more than 4.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we can talk, she's on vacation or something, right?
Yeah.
So we can talk to her when she gets back and see if we can direct her to dedicate 8 hours a week.
That would help
Process.
everything we do.
Why don't we do that? And do you want me to talk to Mube, or do you or Nastasha want to talk to our attorney and kind of frame this letter?
I would like to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Do you have his contact information?
Send me that and I'll.
Do we need to authorize?
Let's make a motion to authorize.
Yeah, I would make a motion to authorize Frank to contact Mube about writing an enforcement letter.
Right.
Okay,
Is it sent certified?
could be.
Yeah,
I think it was send a certified.
Yeah.
Certified and regular mail, both.
See what the attorney suggests.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
8 hours would be good.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I'll second the motion.
Now, we're also looking at getting some software package that is geared towards managing short-term rental and finding people who rent that are.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that when you get more information.
Now, we've talked with 2 companies. Woodstock just hired one of the companies for $26,000 a year.
Yeah.
We've talked to another one that's more in the $10,000 a year range. But what we're using now is an Excel spreadsheet with tabs. And it's not network, so it's hard to keep, you know, the problems with Excel. And it works, but it worked well for 25, 30 people. Now it's getting to be a little unwieldy.
Yeah.
She had mentioned that software actually pulls the data right out of all the online interfaces, doesn't it? All the Airbnb data and
Yes, they have 4 or 5 sources that they pull in. That's where I got the number of 100 to 125 people in Plymouth.
Right, maybe we can solicit a proposal from
less than
the company of choice and bring it to the board, and then we'll be forced to
Yes,
look at it.
that's what we're
take
working
some
on now, is
action.
to get a formal proposal from them. If you need a presentation of what they're offering, we could do that too.
So I guess the other thing is, like, as we're thinking through that, like, what is gonna be the commitment? I don't know what's happening in the short-term rental industry, but it seems to be in at least a decline at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know
This
if that
summer,
means-
I have heard from my own experience and from people that this summer is very slow. A lot of the post-COVID excitement has died down and things have come back to where they were. But I do know is that once you get into winter, there's a shortage of housing for skiers in the entire Ludlow area, Ludlow-Killington area, so that it's every week, you'll rent every weekend in the winter and the foliage season. But summers, most of the summer people are gonna have kids as far in wilderness or birthday birthdays.
I have one last question, Frank. We've got 69 or some on the books. Do you have any feel for how many more are out there that, besides the 10 that you know of, that are,
I think 100 is pretty good.
oh, down line, maybe 100?
Probably 100, 110.
So we must find another 30 out there somewhere, if
Yeah.
they're out there.
Yeah, and I think I've said this all along, I think if you don't have full participation in the program, it doesn't work, because people are gonna start saying, why does that person?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I ride by one every day, and it's like, show. I see that house down the street from mine, there's a different car there every weekend, and and I know the guy has been sent 2 or 3 letters, I feel like going into him,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would feel the frustration really, I think. I'd like to see this.
and I think there's even one here, right down the street, the one with that had the 10 cars a couple weeks ago, cars parked in the street. I think that's another one.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, they're hidden all over.
As we start looking at this STR ordinance again, I mean, one thing that strikes me also, not to get us off track, but I'm seeing garbage at these short-term rentals because the dumpsters aren't secured, they're not bear-proof, right? So the garbage is suddenly strewn everywhere.
But we do require,
You do,
make sure
bear-proof.
they have some way of handling the trash to be either bear-proof or that they keep it indoors.
Okay.
The ones on the
Because I've seen the
hall,
one over here, well, they aren't registered.
the hall,
Case in point, that one
that's
isn't
why,
registered.
well, parking in the trash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we amended the ordinance.
Frank,
But I do, that's one of the things on our checklist. I would like to, not now, but I have, after 2 years, I do have some changes that should not be controversial that I'd like to make, just tune-up things, what's required of the inspections and what they need to do. You know, we had right now the fire inspections once and that's it, maybe every 4 years we should have another one, things like that.
two things cross my mind. I think you're doing a great job, and I'm really impressed that we've got it up to 60-something. I mean, that's great, that's work. That's a good result. I lost it.
I appreciate that. Also, I appreciate the commitment to it as well. It's pretty awesome.
It's fun.
You call it fun. Good for you.
I know more out-of-state residents of Plymouth than anybody.
That's cool. Yeah,
Not too many residents, but out-of-state.
Thank you.
That brings us to the EWP grant, or I guess more basically, the dredging that happens down on Dublin Road. Scott Jensen has asked for a site visit at 9 a.m. on Wednesday.
Is it on?
Yeah. And that's great, that can help us kick off the project. I think I've been in touch with Ted Reeves to incorporate Scott's suggested changes into that. I think it was just like some of the size of the riprap before we hit the river. Anyway, you're going to be leading the project for that, Rick? Is that, or are you willing to, or Larry, or how's that?
Well, Larry will be there. I will work closely.
Okay.
Very closely.
Do we all want to be there for that Wednesday, the site visit?
Is it the same engineer coming out again?
It's Scott, so Scott Jensen, yep, is the, for the state, and then Ted, who we met with at that time. I don't know if we want to have contractors there, because it might be short notice for that, but that could be like a pre-bid sort of meeting to look at it and ask questions.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, too tight a time?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
all right.
Will it entail closing Dublin Road for a time?
No, I think it was just mostly dredging above the bridge and a little bit below, so that we don't get that back up.
Maybe one piece of the project is putting a new culvert across the road, just this side of the bridge. But if we can do that, keep one lane open, I think we will. But it'd be a one-day project if we had to close it.
So I think if you could, can you make it, Keith, on Wednesday? Do we need to warn a meeting because there's 3 of us going, Angela, for that?
That would be an emergency one.
I think so, just because they can just confirm the time. Because there's a quorum, there's 3 of us. So technically we should have a
Have
quorum.
a rain date,
We'd have a meeting if you want.
rain date,
Rain date?
bring a rain jacket.
I wonder if we could also put it off a week or 10 days if we wanted to do that meeting with, do it as a pre-bid kind of meeting.
To bring in a machine guy, whatever, sailor or something.
So a couple people hopefully that want to give us pricing on it. I mean, that might be efficient use of people's time and they can ask the engineer questions.
Yeah.
While they're standing right there, yeah. Makes sense.
And that way we don't have to order an emergency meeting, we just do a regular one.
Now, Jay, it's my understanding there are 3 separate projects there.
Yes,
There's the clearing upstream of the debris.
correct.
Right?
Yeah,
And then there's dredging
correct.
under the bridge, and
Upstream.
then there's that
Berm?
new, I guess it'd be the structure, catch basin, and culvert across the road,
So the
which
structure,
is town.
that's down, yeah, right.
So, is Scott Jensen involved in any other work in the stream, obviously?
Right.
So, I'm trying to think. I mean, there may be, we don't have bid documents yet to distribute.
Right, we have plans that are like 90%
Right. But
blueprint.
they address the first 2 projects,
Yeah,
right? Not the third,
right.
right? Okay.
And that's basically Larry's spec, right? Like
Yeah.
Larry and Scott could just say, hey, this is the town's portion of the project. And
Yeah.
it requires this culvert, stone, Larry could lay that out pretty quick.
I would like to proceed on Wednesday.
This
and
Wednesday.
Let us have a pre-bid after the fact.
Okay,
When we know,
okay,
because there may even be some more changes after our site visit.
okay,
And so let's keep it moving.
all right.
That's what I'm trying to say. And then in a week from now, we can get some contractors down there and have a pre-bid.
Okay.
Because we got to decide if we want to bid all 3 separate projects or one big one, or.
Well, yeah, the structure is gonna be a whole different. Well,
It
bridge,
is.
yes.
It is.
And I'll give you an update on that with this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
So let's proceed with the meeting on Wednesday.
okay.
Okay. Do we have time in the morning?
I'll do it before I go home tonight.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay. Got it.
So we can segue into that, it's part of this. So they had this rivers, or it can be the last thing we do, number 13, but I guess we're here. We're talking about flooding. So they did this rivers thing down in Bridgewater for flooded communities. They wanted to know what projects people thought were important. And they took in a lot of public input. And then they had a meeting a couple weeks ago, it was on a Wednesday night, and they wanted to hear from us like, what we thought was important. And that particular bridge was not included on their list. And I said, hey, can you put it on the list? Because I think that's probably an important one.
It is.
And so there's a berm removal on Patch Brook, and I think that's the one right next to where we're doing the digging. That temporary berm was made to help stop the flooding to the Whalen House and Echo Lake Inn and the church, right? They put that emergency berm up to make sure things didn't flood out in January storm. And it was a volunteer effort.
Okay.
And that happens a lot. So this is on their list. Plymouth Town Office building floodproofing is also on the list.
Is that referring to the workout, moving that hydrant?
No, it's a separate project.
Okay.
But this could be either like raising the building a little bit, lowering the river, and somehow opening up the floodplain. I'm not sure, but it involves engineering.
Okay.
4645 Route 100 buyout. It says houses for sale on the bank of the Black River. It's a little gray house down here. That got on their list. It's right in the flood zone, right? And how that house hasn't flooded, I have no idea.
Which one?
The little, just when you get out of town, that little house on the right that's for sale, little gray, it's cute little.
At Black Mountain.
Oh, yeah,
Black
right
River
on the wall, right on the bridge.
Sale.
Yeah,
That's the house that needs a short-term rental.
Okay.
Now if they buy it out, I don't pay anymore.
Now, this is on their list, that they
It's on
haven't approved yet.
We have 5 projects that we need to prioritize here. When we have, they want to know what feels important to the board.
Why do they
Floodproofing.
want to buy that out? Why is that a priority?
I don't know if it gets, so it got on there, but we have no control over what gets on the list. And, it's all with federal money. Another project is possibly floodproofing Good Commons and other and I said, it's not just Good Commons. When we had Irene, Al's place filled with sand, right? The homes across the street. So that's like, don't look at it as Good Commons. Let's like talk about this as like a little, neighborhood.
Intersection.
Issue. And then I insisted, I asked, please get the bridge on Dublin Road on this project list as well, because that one feels pretty important in a pretty historic downtown section, right? We don't have a lot of that in Plymouth, and the Echo Lake Inn, we can't replace that, or that church.
What
So-
about Union Road, didn't that get on the list?
Did not get on the list.
Fourth time it's wiped out since 1930 or 40. Seriously.
I put it on that day, but then I had.
And they didn't listen to you, huh?
Who were you?
I know, I had authority, but I was the only one there.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we prioritize number 1, Bridge, Dublin Road, then number 73, Plymouth Town Office, number 2, then the berm, and then we nick 74 and 96. That's my vote.
I like that. I can go with that.
Cheers.
So related to the town office, I know that we had water in here during our meeting. The flood map that I looked at today relative to another grant doesn't show this in the floodplain.
Floodplain stops at the road, the other side of the
Is this the floodway?
floodway, I'm sorry.
From the floodway.
It's AE zone.
Is that your, Keith, is that what you think?
So I guess my concern is, as part of the environmental assessment that we need to do for this other grant, the question was, are we in the floodplain where we're doing work? And based on that map, I said no. If we apply for federal money to do something for a flood mitigation year, that's probably in conflict with my answer to that other question. I have no problem changing the answer, but it seems like we should have a consistent answer one way or another.
Well, that answer is based on a map, right, that's already been generated, so it's not an arbitrary.
On FEMA map,
Yeah.
it's on a FEMA map.
Can you, from the 80s?
It's in, yeah, in the 80s. Okay. It's old.
Well, can we update the map?
FEMA does that.
Aren't they updating a bunch of them? Is there one coming in?
It's a conflict. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So it does show us in the floodway, and this did get some flooding in Irene.
Yeah, no, I realize.
Okay.
I went and I read. I guess I answered the question based on the map that I looked at.
Okay.
So there's $280,000 kind of in the mix here
Okay.
with the other grant. So if we don't answer questions properly and fail the environmental,
Jeopardizes our,
we jeopardize our chance of
Yeah.
of getting that particular money, which maybe that's okay.
we do need to make sure, like, we need to make the right answer, right? Make sure.
Right. Yep. And it needs to be consistent, I would think, so I'm just questioning why it's in the floodplain or why it's there for flood mitigation if it's not in a floodplain.
I think if we looked at the Two Rivers map, it would show it in the floodway. Not floodplain, but floodway, it's a little bit different. And, I mean, I can look at that after with you, I think that probably makes the most sense, but I think we can look at the map.
Right.
Just
I
to make
just want to
sure.
answer the
Yeah,
question
yeah.
properly and not cause any issues.
Yeah, I mean, what a bummer to get to like the, 99-yard line and then have the carpet pulled out from underneath us because we answered a question wrong.
Because the money that I'm looking at is from FEMA as well.
Okay.
So,
Good, that'll be like probably one of the first things they review, I'm sure, when they, and they'll say, oh, you guys didn't. Okay.
All right.
So we have general agreement on this, and I mean, this berm removal, that's the only one I question, like, if we are applying for money, well, maybe we'll that's a good thing to get done. I mean, I'm comfortable with this list. Are you comfortable with it?
Yes, I
I
am.
can't add to the list, but this is our priority. All right,
Yeah.
I will forward this to
Yeah.
Two Rivers.
Is the berm on Hatchford Road?
Yep, it's just up from the bridge.
That's on private property, though.
It is, but it's in the flood plain. And
On Patchburg and on
There's a
Dublin?
big-
well, Dublin Road, yeah. it's
Okay, so because we snowshoe on Hatchford, and I'm like, what is he talking about? So it's Dublin, huh?
Dublin, yeah.
That makes,
Push it
yeah,
out in front.
thank you.
Yep.
I was-
Sorry, it was on their list.
Well, we
that way.
snowshoe up there, I'm like, what?
I mean, Patchbrook Road's right by it, that's why I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was confused,
Yeah.
same question.
Yeah, what the
I'll correct that.
That's all right.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
We got it, we got it.
Okay. Oh, well, it's a patch removal, it's berm removal on Patch Brook, not Patch
Yeah.
Brook Road.
Yes.
Patch Brook, yeah.
Okay, Hatchford, okay.
So I didn't interpret that
Yeah.
as a lie.
I love it. Too many names. Hatchford Road.
FEMA reimbursement, at Cherry's request, I called the governor's office, and I told him who I was.
What do you say?
Yes.
Did he hang up?
I said, I'd like to speak to the governor, and then I said, just kidding. He started giving me where the governor was. I said, I'm just kidding, I know, he's too busy, but anyway. He said, I will look into it for you. So Cherry has submitted, of our $2 million in damage, 1.4 million has been submitted, and 1 million is eligible for FEMA reimbursement, just over. And they're holding on to the money. And when Cherry calls FEMA, they said, we have released your money to the state of Vermont. So the question is, where's our money?
Yeah.
Right? Because we're borrowing money to, pay our bills. And so I did get 2 return phone calls, and this person is looking into why that money has not been
Dispersed
yet. So,
from the state.
yeah.
You had better luck than I.
Did you?
Well, I didn't call the governor, but I called Who's the representative? Becca?
Balance?
Balance.
Yeah, about it. I got an email, like everybody does, and what can I do to help, blah, blah, blah. It was a regular, so I called him, and I said the same thing, money's been approved, it's in the state. What do we have to do to get it? Oh, I'll pass this on to somebody who can help you, and I never heard back from anybody. So,
Well, I have a name and a number.
yeah, good for you.
Okay, so
You're
we
making
can-
headway.
We can stay on.
What
that.
office is it?
The governor's office.
I'm
Oh,
saying in terms of, the
oh,
who's handling the dispersal of funds?
Yeah.
so
Treasury?
Kim Karnecki is the one who did a lot of the FEMA work. It's like her office. And I can look that up for you if you want to.
Dre,
Hi,
can you hear me?
we can.
It's from the Vermont State Public Assistance Office.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you, Cherry.
Yeah,
State Public.
And nothing new, right?
nothing new. Still the same from the last time I talked to you.
Thank you.
That's all we can do for now.
Can you forward me that email to the contact info on it?
Yeah. So we got an email questioning why Plymouth does not have compliant data for the parcel data standard with the state of Vermont. And so, this, to start, has anybody used that parcel viewer?
Yeah, I use it, it's horrible.
Yeah, okay.
It's 6 years old,
Okay.
5 years old. Our mapping software company, CAI,
Yes.
has to submit to the state of Vermont a little more current GIS.
So here's the thing. I think we talked about this a couple years ago, and frankly, I remember we were just kind of annoyed by it, right? The state contracted all these people to go out and do this parcel work. They were awarded contracts. Plymouth was one of the only towns that didn't get the money to do the extra work to make the data compliant. So the state did not pay. And I called the contractor about that time. I still have an email somewhere. And they said it'd be $5,000. And we're like, why didn't you ask the state, like every other town gets, to make our data compliant? And so I know we had that conversation about the $5,000 or whatever, it was $5,000. So now, I don't know, I guess the question is, like, it does stink, that's the consequence of it. Like, you get on our website, right, and you start click on a parcel, and some of the data isn't there. So CAI, I believe that was the company, right?
Yes.
CAI Technologies. So if we want to bring our data into compliance, it's $5,000 on us. And I called somebody at the state and complained, and it didn't get an answer that I was happy with at the time. So just like, why didn't, how come we're like the only town? Two Rivers Ottaquiche also said, you should like, they'd like to have that data and I don't know how they use it or what they use it, but it's not great from their perspective to do their work. And I know that's not necessarily our top priority, but if we want to budget for it, we could.
I remember there was an exchange with Two Rivers. I remember the guy was saying that we shouldn't pay it.
Right, but we can't get anybody else to pay for it for us.
Yeah. What happens if we don't?
We got crappy data.
Can we update it ourselves?
We have backups, different sources of the same data. Number one is it's also sponsored by CAI, our parcels where it shows an aerial photograph of the parcel, ready houses. And it's in good shape. It needs a few corrections. Unfortunately, the state mandated combining parcels for the tax rolls, which has caused our software and our parcel viewer to be skewed. You can click on someone's name, and for example, probably your name, Keith, you click on it, because you have two parcels, it only shows one.
To save $8 a parcel for
Yeah,
those
saving
parcels.
bucks.
Yeah.
That was the state. So, we're working, every time we find a problem with it or an error, the nice pretty lady over there, I can't remember her name, she's corrected a number of those. And it's really just, every time you find there's something wrong, correct it.
Is it worth $5,000? I mean, it's just somebody's time.
No. Because most people are using that portal for the data and not the parcel viewer.
I mean, we welcome taxpayer feedback on that.
Yeah.
I think, right?
I mean, I was using it today for some of the grant stuff. It's useful information. It wasn't that hard to navigate.
We had, Dave was in today and got a copy of one. So we use it 4 or 5 times in a week. And that's usually where we get our feedback from. Angela is the first name. Sorry about
I
that.
guess until we can find somebody to pay for it, probably should table it.
Okay.
So the state just wants you to do it, is that all?
Yeah, they want it. I mean, I just don't know what
Why do they want it?
makes their job easier somehow, probably, right?
Oh,
Let me pay
well.
for it. Cut a deal, maybe they'll pay half.
Has to have something about taxes when they're processing taxes.
Can we grind them? But we use them for other things too.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And their mapping software is a lot better than some of the competitions.
I mean, in the end, it's nice to have accurate, compliant data, just because we have it all online. I don't know if that affects attorneys coming here to do, is it good customer service? That's the one question. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah, people are using it all the time.
What are some of the what's inaccurate about it? Like, what's wrong? There's just,
A perfect example on Gilmore Road, Eddie Floyd owns one parcel and Mahoney owns the other, and it's transposed. Relatively easy fix, but
It's gonna take time for somebody to do it all.
yeah, it takes time.
must have $5,000 for somebody to go through the whole database and make all this corrections.
It would be impossible. Because there's over 1,300 parcels alone. And some of them are just little postage stamps. Camp Johnston, for example. Yeah, it's kind of, when you find the error, you correct it. And like I said, with the combining of parcels where they're contiguous, just made the program that much harder to use. Kick that can.
I think that's all we got.
Good.
Mail-in warrants. Oh wait, the NEMRIC contract. Renewal.
What's this, Jerry?
What's that?
What is that?
Oh, I think it is commentary on number 6 on our agenda with working relationships.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. NIMR.
So, NEMRIC for past how many years has been our financial advisor. And these are the services that they provide: quarterly review of financial statements, review of general journal entries monthly and sign off, review of the financial statements for the last fiscal year, and assist with answering questions on the annual audit. And it looks like they've gone to just an hourly rate. They used to charge us a bulk rate of $10,000.
Yeah, that's, I was just gonna ask.
And it looks like quarterly review of 5 hours, so that's 20 hours. So, I mean, the financial systems really run well in this office, I think, and so that's really why there's not that many hours.
It's only, they have 11 hours listed.
And if you do it, you have to break it out by month, but it actually turns out to be about 37 hours
37.
total. Yep.
Is it cheaper than the other way?
Yeah. Let's see, 37 times 145. Probably about $5,000, $5,500. Yeah, $5,300 plus some travel time. So that's pretty good. Now it's just review, not like years ago it was remediation.
Yeah, I think they've straightened out a lot, and they've helped us get some good organization in our financial end, and big help. I would make a motion that we accept that.
Jay,
Yeah, Sherry?
I just wanted to say, like, on that agreement, the
Yeah.
5 hours is not like a monthly, it's like the quarterly.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that you're not counting it as monthly.
Thank you. I counted it as 20 hours per year.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But thank you for keeping me straight.
Quarterly.
Elaine, anything you want to add from your previous role as treasurer?
I think it's important to continue this relationship with him, especially in this transition period. Sherry is good, but there's a lot.
Just need some
She
support?
hasn't experienced yet, and I think it's important that we keep things clean like they are right now. We can't go back to where we were.
Okay, awesome. All right, we good?
Do you have a second? Motion? I made a motion, accept it?
Sure.
We're good? Okay, we're good. That's our side pile. Okay.
All right. Anything,
I
Angela?
was thinking that's the next select board meeting. The second is Labor Day,
Okay.
which the office is technically closed. I don't know if you wanted the 9th for the next meeting or what, so just so we can put that on the record.
I think we're gonna need one for, if we need to accept any bids for this EWP project, right? We should have one on the books.
The Dublin Road project?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I don't say that has to be our timeline, but I just think, when we start running past October, there's it becomes winter work.
Right.
It's a whole different deal.
It
The 9th is
is.
the next Monday.
You have to get an extension, we're looking to revert back to a warm lot business. So, we would get going on that.
Okay.
So the 9th is the next Monday after Labor Day.
That work?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So we're gonna have bids before then.
All right.
September
You
9th.
need a big machine in there, don't you?
Yeah. I don't think,
If you want any of that fill, we can
Sean
some of that
has
knotweed
big
growing
enough
in your
one.
yard.
Clean fill. Got any clean?
What are you gonna do with all the rocks?
Build a wall.
make a rock pile, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that one.
Truck them somewhere. Yeah, we'll find a place. You need some rocks?
No.
Well, I don't think you can really sell it for a month.
All right.
No gravel pits in town, in other words.
I'm gonna go get you.
Just get that.
Warrants to sign. From the office. I'll get you a pen from the office, because we got the warrants to sign.
Rick, I got it.
Yeah.
Are we officially adjourned?
No.
No, not until after we're doing that.
Okay. Oh. We'll talk about it tomorrow, okay? Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
You know Larry's gonna be in and out for a while, mostly out.
Yeah. So then people want to come up and throw rocks in the river with us, they can.
Oh, it's just payroll.
Oh, we can adjourn now, right? We're done with business?
I think so.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Second.